Hello there. This week, I am honored to have on this very podcast Mike Kayihura, an artist that I love, that Rwandans love, that East Africans love, and this is the long form. Mike Kayihura, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, bro. Yeah.
I know that you're a really busy man. You have babies. You have a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old is your baby?
He's 2 years, 2.5 months now.
Oh,
yeah.
it's son.
Yeah, son.
It's
a boy.
It's amazing.
It's a boy, man. Yeah.
You're enjoying being a dad?
I am, bro. I really am, and it's definitely putting the two together, the creating and being around him. It's pretty interesting to see how he actually enjoys being around my creative process too.
That's do you take it? Cool. Do you ever take him to the studio?
So not often, but it's happened a few times. But I'd say mostly when I'm at home and he sees the keys, or he sees me listening to a sketch, or just genuinely just listen to music. His reaction, you know, it's really interesting. Yeah.
Do you think that he has a bit of the music gene in him already?
I think so. I really do. Yeah. His mom played the piano, classical as well. But just by the fact that he loves at school where he goes to school, they insisted that we have to buy him a drum, a traditional drum. So they have this local drum that they play during break or after lunch before they nap, daycare. And he loves the drums, so we bought him the drums. And like every time I go see him at his place, he's got this spoons from the kitchen and the drum, and he's always like, "Yo, let's go, let's
natural born musician."
Yeah, and he's got rhythm too. So that's really interesting to see, man. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, right?
Yeah,
and everyone feels like they know you.
Right.
I've known you for maybe a decade plus. Right. But if I was to ask you, who is Mike Kayihura? How would you answer that question?
I'd say like a few years ago, if you asked me that, I'd say I would consider myself singer-songwriter. But I don't know, it's the traveling and meeting different artists and them asking me about where I come from and me telling them about my people, my elders, the people I come from. It's like I've grown to take that Rwandan artist very seriously, it feels more unique that way as opposed to just saying singer-songwriter. So I'm a Rwandan artist, I'm a storyteller. Actually, Rwandan storyteller would be more specific, because there's stories to be told within the creative process as an artist, but also the stories we meet day to day, that we share as well in different forms, But apart from that, I love music. I'm a big Arsenal fan.
A dad?
Yeah, a dad. I play the piano. And I mean, obviously, as time goes by, I used to say like, I'm not a piano player. I know how to play the piano. I can play some keys, but a piano player is a whole other description. And I've met piano players, and they're dedicated. So I'd say a few of those things. But of late, just a Rwandan storyteller, bro. Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
So why? I'm just gonna ask. It's gonna sound like a silly question, but why is Mike Kayihura an artist? How did that? And if you call yourself an artist, how did that come into being? What was? Because you were not born one, or maybe were you born one?
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't born one. Yeah. So that's the thing. Growing up as a kid, I always wanted to be a football player. I was into football, like soccer, and it just wasn't my thing. I was too big for the game, and I was towering over everybody,
that's a great goalkeeper, though.
Right, exactly. So that's the thing, and I was like, no, I think I'm a midfielder, like I'm a striker. Like, what are you talking about, But obviously, a lot of those things come with absolute hard work, You come I'd go play football, but you realize these kids are putting in the work before they get on the pitch. So growing up, I was just like, And then I turned 12, and then I found myself in a church choir. And for me, being in the church choir, it was just a family away from my actual family, I've made beautiful friends through that. Some of them I'm still in touch with, some I'm not. But that feeling of going on stage to perform songs that a lot of the songs you've not created, but you're doing them together. There's no ego. It's just worship. You're singing about the creator, bringing people together. So I think that's one of the reasons I'd say I've stuck to music, because there's obviously been so many challenges and many reasons for me not to be doing what I love. But that, and also the fact that it took me away from where I come from. I come from a very antisocial setting, because I never really, socializing was something I struggled with a lot. And music gave me that, because I made people who appreciated it, and as they appreciated it, they would link me to the people who also have, say, some common like aspirations with me in creating and so on. So, man, I feel like I like to say music saved my life, bro. I like to say music saved my life because it gave me the understanding that communication is very important. You have to communicate. You cannot sit on. You need to communicate to get what you want.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. So I say that.
Oh, that's really cool. Let me ask about music, right? So very often, some people will say that my music is me.
Yeah.
And some other people will say, well, this is me.
Yeah.
And I do music.
Yeah.
Which one is the case for you? Are you your art? Or can you separate Mike Kayihura, the person, the son, the father, and Mike Kayihura, the singer, songwriter, producer, performer? Or are they just one and the same?
I think they're two different people, because like when I get on stage, it's almost like I'm I don't know how to put it. When I get up there, I'm just myself, yes, but I've created a sort of like bubble, and nothing else matters. It's literally just me and myself, and that also comes from messing up a lot, being on stage. I've been on stage before I forget my lyrics. I've been on stage before I forget the chords. A lot of the times, a lot of the big platforms that in the beginning that I found myself on, it really happened a lot. So I learned that just being myself up there, and like the fact that I have a band with me as well, if it's people that I've played with for a long time, for me creates that world. It's a whole other world for me when I'm up there, And then when I'm off it, I get that a lot when I meet people, especially fellow artists that are like, oh damn, you're actually pretty chill. And I'm like, yeah, but they're like, yeah, but you seem like you've got this like energy about you. And for me, I get that a lot lately when I hear them say that. So I'm like, oh shit, that's actually it. Like I actually create a whole world for me when I'm up there. I don't believe that I've got to my full potential in terms of expression, because of different things, I'm still finding myself as an artist. I'm still learning a lot about myself as an artist, and a lot of the things that have helped me with that is the traveling and meeting fellow East African artists and them actually letting me know what they think about my stuff. It just shows you that it's a work in progress every day that goes by. So I'd say it's two different people, but I feel more at home with the art. If I could. Yeah.
And do you create that bubble to protect yourself?
Yeah, I think I do. I create it to protect myself because I'm a very sensitive individual, and the sensitivity has led me to really dive into the creative process. Like I always tell, like a lot of the kids come to and they ask me, they're like, yo, like what is it like to create these tracks? I'm like, look, every artist that I look up to, a lot of them, those that I've been lucky to meet, always say like, if you can sit down in a studio and take hours and hours of listening to a metronome, being ready for a producer to work on a bass line, and just sitting there and listening to the kick of a drum for hours and hours, it's like you're just listening to a drop. It's the same drop, but it's just polishing it. If you don't have the patience for that, then it just doesn't make sense, because you're listening to the production of a sound, like like the kick of a drum, and you listen when it's a final product. It's like, oh, that sounds nice, but making that, yeah, I feel like I kind of lost the question you asked me because I just drifted away with that. Yeah.
No, I like it. I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would you call yourself shy?
Bro, yeah, I am pretty shy, bro.
So then how I want to understand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, some people are natural performers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? They were born
Yeah.
to do it. Like when I think about
Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Jackson, for
Right,
example,
right,
like
right.
he was a baby and he
Yeah.
was doing the moonwalk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You give off that energy of like, okay,
Yeah.
I love to perform.
Yeah.
I wish I was in a dark room producing music.
Wow.
Is that accurate?
That's really it, bro. That's why I'm telling you, I'm finding myself as I grow. And a lot of the things that have pulled me back in terms of slow down my process, it's just not having the right people around me, you know? And it's part of life, it's part of the process. A lot of the people that I started working with on the journey I'm not with anymore. We created good music together, good projects together, but that's it, because now you're constantly starting again, you know? So right now, where I'm at right now at the moment is going through that has shown me that I need me before anybody else can have me, you know? Like, how can I give me if I'm not really in me? Like, you know, so I'm actually finding peace with creating for me was, I don't know how to say it. I'd say maybe creating for me was just finding peace of mind or so on, like communicating to myself a lot more. But now I'm communicating with other people, and I'm also getting their feelings and finding a way to mold them into something else. But now where I'm at right now is, am I comfortable enough to express myself, you know?
Yeah.
So there's little things that I'm putting together, and I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable doing this. And obviously having that thing of, don't listen to everybody, you know? Because we have this thing on where we come from, we have to listen to our elders.
Yeah.
But as an artist, you need to
rebel.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's something that comes out of, I mean, for me to be where I am right now as an artist, it's also, I had to rebel and be like, nah, this is what I want to do.
Especially because when you think about it, right? So when you come from a quote unquote good family, right?
Right.
You're expected to go on a certain path.
100%.
Right? It's lawyer, CEO, communications, and now, you know, you have to be brave enough to
100%.
say, you know what, I have a voice in my head and in my heart that needs to be expressed, and I'm going to express myself this way.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of, you know, it's kind of weird because on one side you say I'm very shy, but you literally pushed against maybe your community's expectations of you, right?
100%.
And created a lane for yourself. It must have been, what were the conversations like with your folks?
Oh man.
You know, I want to be this. I want to be a piano player.
This is so crazy, man. We were having breakfast one time, and this is like, for me, I feel like that's the one that I feel like I really pushed my mom to the wall, because she was really presenting me all these options of like, look, Mike, you just finished high school, and I'm like, what are you doing with this? I'm like, I want to do music. So you can't, why don't you go do this? And she's laying down all these options for me. She's like, this is beautiful. You could study this. You could do that. And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I was not the best academically, you know. And a lot of the teachers would always tell me this, you know. I remember one time I was registering for my international IB when I went to Green Hills Academy, and there was this American teacher, and he gave us his papers, and he was like, yeah, just fill in the form, and below was like, your aspirations, what do you want to be? And I wrote musician. I was like in grade 11. And I'll never forget him looking at me and saying like, yo, you know this is your life, right? Like, you got it. Like, he's really trying. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. At the time I was in the church band, and I was learning how to play the keys. But you know, back to my mom, I remember her,
go with that story. I'm really interested.
Yeah, because he looked at me and he was like, this is your life, right? And I gave him I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I've never done anything that makes me feel alive like this. Everything I've ever tried, school, you name it, I've never felt at ease. But every time I go on stage in front of the church and I sing, like, just randomly, an old lady would come and just be like, thank you so much for that song you sang. And because we'd have solos, right? And I would be singing tenor. And it's just the emotion of going back on stage every Sunday and seeing the same face of that woman or this person. And then seeing my dad one day come through all of a sudden to church. He never came to church. I'm just looking at him backstage with his homie. And, you know, every time I see them, they're sharing a beer together. But now they're here to see me. And it's crazy because that same day I was singing my first ever song that I ever wrote. I was like 15. 16. It was called Doobie Doo. It was a gospel song. But yeah, man, I just remember finishing that song and they walked out. That was it. I just see them. They were sitting in the back of the church, and they literally, as soon as I was done, like everybody's saying thank you. And then there's a video actually. I don't know if he still has it.
Yeah.
In his old laptop, but I literally just know I see him walking out because like that was it. That was
I
all
mean, he
had.
came to see you
He
perform.
came to see me perform, but I thought he was gonna stay for the whole service, you know. But real talk, like telling my mom that I'm not gonna do what she wants me to do.
Do you remember what those options were?
Yeah, I remember she was talking to me about IT. She was talking about different things, and obviously schools in the States, schools in Europe. And my dad was sitting right there in the corner. My dad was silent the whole time. He was a big fan of my sounds, still is. He always encouraged me to be different, you know. I remember bringing a piano at home once, the first ever time. It was a little Yamaha, and I borrowed it from church. And because that's what they use for the synth. So he was like, oh shit, what is it? What's going on here? And I just remember how proud I was to show him that I can do the do re mi, you know? I was like, I was 14, 15, because like I'm self-taught with the piano. I'd pick up stuff here and there, and then I'd just put it together. But he was so happy. I could just remember seeing him, his face just glow up like, wow, okay, this is interesting. And he'd always come into the room and just sit and just watch me just doing this stuff. And then eventually I started writing songs, playing covers, you know. But he sat there right there in the corner. My mom was on the dining table, we were having breakfast. She's like, no, you can't do this. And then I just remember standing up, bro. I stood up. I'm like, Mom, I don't care what you tell me. You're going to go do that stuff. You want to go learn it? You go learn it. I'm not learning this. I'm going to sing, and this is all I'm going to do. And whatever comes out of it, comes out of it. I was very emotional. You know, even as I speak it to you right now, I say to you.
You can almost go back to that space.
I can almost feel what it was like. It was almost like, it was very teary as well, because I'm like you don't understand, like, it's just in me, you know what I mean? It's in me, like, and I come back to that thing of like, there's nothing that I've ever done in my life that has given me this peace of mind, that has brought me closer to the people that I felt I'd never get closer to, or just people in general, because expression just brings so much light, you know, in general. So yeah, it was not easy, but I remember the silence in that space. My dad didn't say a word, she didn't say a word. Went back right there and finished breakfast like nothing happened, bro. And ever since then, I met this British guy, Dick and Marshall, at a bar. This is crazy, man.
And what year was this? Do you remember the year?
This is 2012. 2012. I graduated in 2011. So 2012, I remember I'm at a bar with my friends. We're having a drink, and it's like 11 p.m. My dad calls me. He's like, yo, I'm at Le Chateau. And, you know, Muta and all these other people are playing. You need to come through and jam. And it looks really fun. I'm like, Dad, I'm pretty far. I don't think he's like, dude, I'm giving you 15 minutes and you have to be here. And there's this pianist, Kenyan pianist called Kim Twitter. And so I remember going there. He sees me in the crowd. He's like, hey, before we finish, Mike, come through, just jam. You know, so just come and improvise with the mic. And like, I have this thing I do where I close my eyes. Ever since I was in church, it's like I never really liked like the whole looking into people's eyes and stuff. So I just close my eyes and sing. And as I open my eyes, there's this British guy. He's pretty wavy, but he's standing right there and he's like staring at me. He's like, what's going on here? You know, like from that day on, he's just like, dude, I feel like you have something. The good thing is my dad was there, and he just came and told my dad, like, I'm going to Ethiopia. I want to take this guy with me. Please let him come. Just give me a year or so with him. I think we could do some stuff together, you know. I went to Addis a year later, and that was my dream, because I always told my mom and my dad, I was like, there's no way you're going to spend a penny on me again to learn anything or to advance myself in general. I spent so much money and struggled so much for me to get this education in high school, and I never liked the sight of them going through the stress to make sure I've gone to school, to make sure my fees are paid on time. I just didn't like it, you know. I really even just going to school alone, I was like, what am I doing, you know? But I love him for that. I cherish that, you know. But ever since that day, like, family got together and, like, you know, they helped me go there. But ever since that day, that was it. That was always one of my biggest goals, apart from doing music, making sure they're not stressing out to find money for me to go study. You know, everything is right there. I already know what I want to do. I feel like I can do something with it. Just let me do it. So I feel like that's it, bro. Ever since then, I've never stopped, you know.
You know, you're talking about you know, I'm a dad
Yeah.
too. I have two sons. You have one. And you're talking about, you know, when you're talking about your story and how, you know, your dad's support played such a pivotal role in your growth, both as a person but also as a musician.
Yeah.
Can you talk more about what that support meant to you? Because one of the things that, you know, parents will watch this
Yeah.
you know, this conversation or
yeah.
listen to it, and they might have young kids, right?
Facts.
How important is it to listen, right? To know your children and to really listen to them. And on the other side, because you know what, parents want the best for their kids,
100%,
as your mom did, right? So she's probably thinking,
Yeah.
okay, I need to make sure that my son is good,
Yeah.
right? She wasn't saying become an IT person
100%.
because there was no love there.
Yeah.
Actually, it was from love.
It's from love, yeah.
And your dad was also quiet
Yeah.
from love as well.
100%, yeah.
So, you know, you're now someone, right? That parents listen to, that, you know, young people want to emulate. Like maybe not you, maybe even go further than you, but
100%,
they have a talent. What I would like you to help us understand is, as a parents, how should they navigate, or how do they come up with the best answer to a child that maybe wants to go into music? What are the questions they should ask? What are the things they should listen for?
It's crazy because, like, see, that's the thing. At first, I would say he always wanted to be a musician. He has this story he always tells me. I don't know, you probably see this too. But every time, as time went by, as I constantly learned the piano, as I constantly kept singing in church, he always told me this story about when he brought a guitar home, when he was about my age at the time, when he was about 16, 17 as well. And his mom just saw it, and he was playing the bass guitar. You remember him telling me he was left-handed, left bass, you know, and then his friend lent him the guitar basically to go play at home, and his mom saw it, my grandma, and threw it out the window and told him, "How dare you bring this in the house? Everybody else, your siblings are being doctors and lawyers, and you're here trying to play the guitar? How don't you ever?" She threw it out the window of the room, and I feel like I see it in his eyes whenever he talks about it, you know? For me, it's almost like I'm living his dream, you know? And when you talk about listening, I'll come back to myself and I say, I didn't really listen to this guy, you know? To me, he's not my dad as much anymore. I call him my brother because music, like I said music saved my life, because music opened up this other vessel in me of like, you know, I felt like I'd been sitting on so much, which is myself, to a point where even when I started talking to my dad as time went by, we became more friends. Like, he's actually my best friend right now, you know? Whenever I call him, he's like, "Hey, bro," you know? But I didn't listen to him. And what I'm trying to say is, I've grown to realize that there's this other part that I'm really getting into, which is being patient with my parents, you know? Because for me, storytelling is like, how do I cross the other path of storytelling if I don't understand where these guys are coming from? His anger and like persistence towards me being better, I didn't really grow up liking him because I felt like he was too aggressive with me, with how he wanted me to become, you know. And obviously, as the music came through, as I embraced the music, the more sensitive I became, the more into myself I became, and that also kind of took away the whole narrative of like, "Hey, son, like, what's going on here? Why are you being too soft with this stuff? Like, you need to toughen up and do this." I never really listened to him. I'm listening to him right now, though. Like, those sounds, like the voices of the things he used to tell me every single day, I didn't do 50, 60% of the things he used to tell me to do. But he meant the best for me. He wanted me to be the best version of myself. You want to do this? Well, you need to do this to become this. Basically, be disciplined. Don't do what I did, or don't do what these guys did, you know? there's a better way out for you here, you know? So I didn't really listen to him. And I regret it in some way, but at the same time, I thank God the fact that he's still here with me. And now I can look at him in the eye and say, you know what? I really used to tell you how I never liked you, but I'm really grateful. Thank you for this, you know? And he's just looking at me sometimes like, what are you trying to say? I'm like, dude, everything you told me, I see it now. You never lied one bit. Oh, but if anything, I just interpreted it differently. So what I get from him is like the way you communicate to your children, you know? And to me, that anger, as I go into storytelling, the way he threw it at me, I look at it as that's the way he was told. That's the guidance he got, you know?
I think my question more was from giving parents the tools. Because, you know, one day my son might come up and say, Dad, I want, maybe not being but they want to do something that's outside the norm.
Right. No,
and I don't necessarily have the tools
to do that.
To even to understand that. Like how, because that was what your parents were dealing with, right? They were dealing with a son who wanted to do something outside what they understood to be normal.
Man,
right?
Yeah. No,
if you could have been in your parents' shoes, right? How would you have preferred that they approach it? That conversation with you.
That's the thing, bro. Like, I don't know. I feel like the way they approached it is why I'm here. You know, like I don't. If I could sit down and be like, okay, maybe put me in a space that allows me to do this, but at the same time, that's like, invest in me, you know? Invest in the equipment for this, invest in this, because this is going to lead me to this, and this is going to bring these kind of people here. I feel like the challenges I met along the way, because as soon as I made that decision, the answer was, you know, you're taking a harder route here. There's an easier way to do things. Yes, you want to do this, but like, I'm like, no, I want to do this. I want to explore this way, you know? So I feel like it's a tough answer to give you, bro, you know? Because like, as much as I hated the fact that I went through all of this, I definitely feel like I've gone through a lot. Like, just the spaces and everything that I've changed, the people I've dealt with, I feel like I wouldn't change anything, bro. It's so crazy to say, but because I've also met a lot of people who have everything in their hands and they just don't know what to do with it, you know? Why? Because maybe they're not going out there to experience the actual life experiences that you should face in order to like polish your storytelling or whatever, you know? Because I feel like day-to-day life, the stuff I've experienced with friends and, you know, really just throwing myself out there and be like, you know what, I got this, you know? Sometimes you just have to swim and just go, you know? If I hadn't gone through that, I don't think I'd be able to, say, talk to you right now. Yeah. Honestly.
So, let's go back to music.
Yeah.
So, what is good music to Mike? Right? Like, how do you like? What when I ask you, this is good music?
Yeah.
What is that to you?
Oh man, good music. Bro, that's so crazy. It's a good question because I don't restrict myself to what I listen to, you know? But for me, a good music production, a good song is the minimal song. A song with just a kick, maybe a shaker and the keys, you know? I've found so much peace with that, you know? But at the same time, there's nothing more beautiful than listening to a full body of work with like Gakondo. Look at Ruti, for example. Ruti Joel, for me. When I listen to his album, Musomandera, for me, that's like that blend of the noose, like, it's like a touch of Gakondo, but with a touch of like that soul and, you know? So, and the minimal feel in it. That to me, that's good music. So I think good music to me, I'd say, is minimal, you know? It's breathing, there's enough space for anything to go into it, for a car passing by to jump into it if you're recording, you know? When I recorded my project Barely Mixed, I remember telling the producer, like, whatever happens, even if I fuck up or if I mess up my chords or whatever happens, please keep it in there because I feel like that will represent everything. Keep the people's voices, because there's free entrance There's a bougainvillea. Keep the people clapping. Keep everything in there, you know. So every time I listen to that project, it's just me and the keys, you know, and I can hear my dad in the background, just like, there's this song, bro. I'll never forget. There's this song I was going to record called Just to Let You Know. I wrote a song for him called Just to Let You Know. And in the song, I'm talking about, like, whatever the case happens, whether I die today or tomorrow or what the case, I will always be gold, just to let you know, basically that, you know. So in the chorus, I say, even if I die, when Mansa Musa revives, I'll still be gold and I'll glitter your soul, just to let you know. So I was just thinking about him, you know, when I wrote it. But I remember the first time I played it for him at home, he was like, yeah, this is too slow, man. Like, he was always like, why is it too melancholy? Like, why is this all this stuff? So when I played it that day, I just remember him. It's even in the song, like on the YouTube video where whoever recorded it was recording me introduce the song. And I just see him say, you know, like, like that song again, you know? You know what I mean? So, but that's the thing, like the song had air, the song had the people in it. I can hear my friends clapping, I can hear them comment, you know? So for me, a beautiful song is not too much. It's the keys, it could be a shaker, it could be claps, and yeah. I don't know if that answers the question, or if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you obviously put out a lot of music, right? So you sit down, because that's what you're doing. You're in constant creation.
Yeah.
But how do you know that what I have produced is good?
Right. I feel like music is teamwork. Music is about the people you surround yourself with. A lot of the good friends that I've had and a lot of the good people that I've worked with, a lot of the things that have put us together is good music, you know? And the people I decide to work with, we have this thing where like music brings us together somehow, you know? Not leave alone the fact that this is what I do, but we've just found peace in it, you know? So I feel like having the right people around me have told me about a good song that, you know, outside, for example, they're like, oh, I feel like the people will like this and that, you know? But I'm talking about a song that for the people. But for me, if I was to write a song for myself, I'd say, man, like it's a feeling, you know? It's like it's the chills, it's the emotion, you know? Being able to be on stage and just like talk about the song and just like it could be just 2 chords, 1 chord. You know Michael Makembe? Yeah, Michael Makembe has this thing that he does where he's on stage and it's just himself. And I feel like I'm heading towards that angle with my creativity. And I feel like one of the things that are going to help that is just being more and more into myself, you know, accepting my realities, you know. I'm sorry, I might be going off topic with you.
No,
you know, but like but like a lot of like on some real stuff. Growing up for me, I want to go back to this like to music. Why music, right? Like complex, you know. I grew up with a lot of complex, you know. Size, you know, I'm towering over everybody, and it's like sometimes I think about it's not even think about, I just visualize it, and I picture myself in like just rocking a mushanana, bro, all white, and I'm just up there, and it's just me and maybe the keys and the boys right there, you know. I see all these kind of things, you know. So like when you called me and you told me about coming through here to do this and talk about music, I just thought about all of that. And I think about the artists that I meet every day in the studio that are going through so much mentally and are trying to find home within the sound, you know? There's so many, bro. There's so many, you know? So I know I'm very sure I just went off topic with you right now, but I can assure you, this kind of moments right now, like I just got a flashback of myself, you know, where I come from with expression and so many other things, you know. Because growing up, we're told you have to suck it up, you have to sit on things, you know. And yeah, man.
So,
Yeah, my bad.
now it's fine.
Yeah,
So, when you think about where you are
yeah.
and where you've come from, are you happy?
I think I'm happy with the fact that I never gave up, you know? I'm happy with the fact that I never let go of the visual, you know? Because it is a visual at the end of the day. It's a visual. It's like, you know, what is a dream without a visual, you know? You dream it, but you have to visualize it, even as you're awake, you know? You have to see it, you know? I'm happy with the fact that I never let go, and I still have it, you know? It's almost like it's still growing in me, you know? It's not going anywhere. But I hate the fact that, and it comes with the creativity, you have to be vulnerable to find your best feel or creation. I've had so many beautiful people come and go, you know? I'm not happy in the sense of, sometimes I beat myself up because I feel like maybe I should have dealt with people differently, you know? How do such beautiful people come into your life and you create magic and all of a sudden they're not there or they're just not the same people, you know? So that part is where, like, I'd say I'm not really happy. I'm not happy with the fact that such beautiful people could just, you know, decide to go away because, like, they're still beautiful in my eyes. I still see them as beautiful, but they're not the same. It's not the same anymore, you know? Yeah, I'd say I'm happy with that, bro. I'm happy with the fact that I never stopped, you know? All these things that kept coming, they're still coming through, but I've never stopped. I'm still creating, yeah.
Are you happy with the fact that, for example, a while ago you had big concerts in Uganda? You are becoming, it seems, every artist's favorite artist.
Right.
Right? Is that something that brings you joy?
It does, bro. It does. Last year, June, July, that's when I performed in Kampala at the Serena. Best moment in my life, for sure, in my career, rather. Yeah, just being up there, like knowing the fact that, you know, I lived there in the late 90s. I went to school there for a few, you know, did my kindergarten there and everything. But walking up on that stage and my sister being there, someone like, you know, and just singing. I remember, what song was it? Was it Kante? Yeah, that's Kante and Barely Mixed. I remember singing it up there. Actually, before I even said a word, I remember just asking the people, like, you guys really paid your money to come see me? It was packed, bro. It was so packed. And, like, the Serena it's quite big, you know?
What, you think about how many hundred people?
Yeah, like, there's quite a lot of people there. I didn't expect that, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I expected people to show up, but not like that, you know? So, bro, it's yeah, that's it. Those are the kind of moments you live for. You're like, yeah, you know what? This is super dope, you know? And the fact that it's also in Kampala, you know? So yeah, man, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think that makes me very happy, 100%. And I like the fact that I went there with, I remember going there with a friend of mine. My sister was with me. You know, the beautiful people, man. It's good. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when I say the phrase modern Rwandan contemporary music, what does that phrase bring to your mind? Is there something special about that, or is it just something that can be defined as, you know, it's Rwandans, it's music made by people who have a Rwandan passport. There's nothing fundamentally special or identifying about our modern contemporary music. Because when you think about, when someone tells you Rwandan music, right, it takes you to Cecile,
100%.
and Kayihura. You don't think what I'm listening to today is Rwandan music. But if someone says, okay, is there such a thing, I guess, fundamentally, as contemporary Rwandan
I think there is,
music?
bro. I think there
Pop
is.
music.
Pop music.
Yeah.
I think there is, man. I think there is. It's just, and I think it's just, it comes down to the production, you know? Producers have a big say when it comes to this part, I think. The artists could come and do their thing and sing and do that, but I feel like a lot of what's happening, and I see it a lot when I was mentioning Ruti to you, I mentioned Makembe to you. I feel like Makembe is really on that verge of finding himself as a producer who does that, the modern contemporary sound, pop, you name it, you know? So I think it's there, man. I think it's there, and it's just, are you walking into the studio willing to do that? You know, the artist needs to be ready to actually, because a lot of the times as artists, we walk into a studio just like, okay, we're just gonna create. But once you get in there with like an actual visual, and I've found out with myself, it's like, yeah, I'm here to actually create this kind of feel. It actually makes more sense, you know. So a lot of the times, like, I feel like, okay, I think we're heading on the right track with it. I think we're finding ourselves with that modern contemporary sound. I think it's already there, but it's just patterns, you know, putting it together. Because right now, as we speak, like, to me, the best contemporary or fusion-wise, you know, like I said, sitting down with artists like Ruti, I've learned the language more. Like, we think Kinyarwanda is minimal. There's so much in Kinyarwanda, like, you know, Yivugo, like the poetry and everything that is in it. I think it has inspired a lot of like hip hop artists today. You know, like if you look at artists like Ishkevin and Kivumbi as well, who's a singer as well, the poetry that they use is so deep, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like right now where we are, production has a big say, you know, because the poetry is already there, the artist is ready to deliver, but the producer has a massive role to do, like to play, in terms of that feel. You know, if you listen to the songs like we're talking about, like Burna Boy, for example, he's got that. They have that poetry and everything, but the music is so rich, you know, because they've found a way to fuse the two, of like the old school and what's happening today. So yeah, production has a big role to play in this, bro. Yeah.
Would you call your music Rwandan music?
Oh man, that's the thing, man. I call my music soul. You know, I just say soul music. But yeah, I think I'd call it Rwanda music, bro. You know, because if you listen to, for example, like a track like Tuza, let's say, it's a song that you could play on Inanga as well. Like I've jammed with it with some players before, and it's the feel, you know. Even as I'm singing the song itself, it's like I'm going with it. I'm going with the instrument. A lot of our music is based on going with the Nanga and like just jamming with it, you know. It's like literally that's what it is, you know. But all of those things are things I realized later on, and so I think it's Rwanda music, bro. I think it is Rwanda music. I don't know if I'd call it modern contemporary, but I do think it's Rwanda music in general, yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's something that I think that's really interesting for me as a consumer of music from Rwanda over the last, you know, where I think I at least have maybe 15 years ahead of you, is when I was your age, when you thought about Rwandan music, like when you listened to the radio or went to the, you know, entertainment venues, to, you know, nightclubs and pubs, it would be very rare to have music that was Rwandan, right? Not even like, yes, there was always, you know that kind of music, right? If at the end of the night, right, they would start playing that music, but it wasn't music that you jammed to. But now, you know, pop radio, it's Rwandan music. Hip hop, Rwandan music. It's the language is really. It's like the artists have taken their space. Their rightful place on our airwaves and in, you know, I guess DJ boxes. And that's great. I think that's amazing.
It's incredible.
How did that happen?
I don't know. You know what's crazy? Like, as soon as you said that, I thought about Bruce Melody calling me, and I was living with my parents at the time. I was in my room on the laptop, and he called me. He's like, "What's up, man? This is Bruce. Yeah, I don't know where you are, but I'm in my car right now. I'm coming to pick you up, and we're going to create something." And I'm like, "What? What is this guy talking about?" So I'm like, I'm at home. I just taken a shower. It's like noon. He comes through in his Benzo, picks me up, puts me in his car. He's just talking to me throughout the whole ride. And then we get somewhere, and this was like, and then the kids, right? They just stopped the car, man. Oh, he couldn't move for like a good 10 minutes. They didn't want to move, so like loads of them, you know? And it's just like, yeah, truck camera. So I'm just sitting there watching all of this. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Look at this guy. But that was the day we wrote Katerina, you know? So we went to the studio, and he played me the beat. I'm like, yo, you know what? I just want you to put my name on this because I feel like we're going to create something here. And I've always wanted to do this, you know? So I feel like a song like Katerina, that song really crossed and went to East Africa, left East Africa and went into... So I feel like the fact that Bruce sat down and thought like, okay, I can write these songs, I've written all this stuff. This guy, he's writing stuff in English. I've heard some of his stuff. He's come into the studio and heard my sketches. The fact that he just sat down and said, like, why don't you just write something and see what you can create with me? A lot of artists, and I've seen it, a lot of artists don't have that. It's like, why is he writing a song for me? He's a fellow artist. Like, that to me, from Bruce, is brave. It's like, you're opening the understanding of like, okay, you have something that I don't have. Let me fuse it with you. You know what I want. You know the people I sing for. You know my crowd. I know your crowd. Can you blend the two? I feel like those are that for me, I feel like Katerina played a major role because like what we have here with our people is like when we see something happening elsewhere from our people, oh, we're gonna run for it, you know, 100%. And to see like something like that happen, I don't know if you see that because like yes, we used to play our own stuff and everything, but when something like that happens, everything aligns, and then obviously other songs come through, and then now more artists are not only just writing in Kinyarwanda, they're also writing in English. There's a lot of English in Kinyarwanda happening now.
So is it because it kind of sounds like there are two things, right?
Yeah.
There's the collaboration between artists,
100%.
as well as the fact that we're now creating like with the languages, right? Like
we're playing around with it.
We're playing with things.
It's actually both of what you said. The collaboration is so important because like creating the Zua EP, for example, for me, my Zua project, without made beats wouldn't make sense, you know? As much as I wrote all those songs or played most of them, composed them, the collaborative energy is so important, and I see it a lot today. And I feel like lockdown kind of gave us that. You look at the...
Like us as an entire
as a whole,
industry,
as an industry, you know? There's this project that came out called Rwanda in lockdown by the artists, the Ishkevins, Pro Z. These are like the kids that are coming up, like really, the collaborative energy they have today is surreal, you know? And so I think, collaborative energy and the fact that we've spiced it up, you know? The fact that's why I give you an example, like Bruce just coming through and being like, I'm like, Bruce, I don't write in Kinyarwanda. I've never written in Kinyarwanda, so what do you want me to do for you? It's like, no, just play around with whatever you feel. Just write whatever you feel in your mind, and let's put it down. And I'm like, okay, you're trying to hit the region. Why don't we just call it Katerina? Because how do you pronounce Catherine in Kinyarwanda or in Swahili? It's Katerina, you know? So let's call it Katerina. Katerina will resonate with the East, all over the East. Let's call it Katerina. You know, I want to look at you, baby, Kidogo, you know? So like that, the blend and the collaborative energy, bro,
Yeah. You know, Africa is hot right now in music, right? So you have, you know, there's been a huge Nigerian wave with the Burna Boys and the Wizkids and the Yemi Alades, and they're really taking up their space. And now you have this young lady from South Africa, Tyla. She's really doing her thing on Spotify, and she has a whole TikTok challenge. They're becoming mainstream, and with mainstream comes, you know, fame and all those that kind of attention. You on the other side, I think you would admit to yourself that, you know, you're shy, right? You prefer to, like you said, like sit in your studio and
100%
and perform.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
But
You're right. Yeah.
do you? But when you see, I'm sure there were, as Kigali becomes more and more a destination for big artists to come and in a couple of weeks we'll have Kendrick, and a few weeks ago we had Davido on. I'm pretty sure I was in the audience.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you were
Yeah.
in the audience for these shows, and you see that kind of energy that comes with
Yeah.
getting to that level
Yeah.
of mainstream acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Is that something that you aspire for?
100%. Oh, absolutely, bro.
Yeah, you want that.
Yeah, I mean, and more, but at the same time, it's like, I believe in the fact that I could get towards it just by being myself, Like, yeah, they're doing it that way, but yeah, so that's it. That's the path I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I'm in the path of like.
You want to be a superstar?
100%.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't want to call it super. I just want to be a storyteller, bro. I just want to go up there and like talk about experience and like real shit. Like, okay, and so people can relate. What they're doing or what they're singing is, it's about how do people relate. I'm not gonna jump on stage. That's for sure.
You're not going to take off your shirt and dance.
I know I'm not doing backflips on stage. No.
You're too tall.
Yeah, I'm too tall for that. But
Yeah.
one thing is for sure, I feel like I can definitely have a way that I want to do it, But for me, that way is going to come from self-love, and I have to, self-love as a whole, bro, Self-love is being peaceful with your mind. I've been so peaceful with my mind lately, and by that I mean like just being patient with the thoughts, Because thoughts could ruin everything for you. The way you think could completely ruin your day. It could ruin a session. It could ruin a relationship, So I've been really taking it seriously. Am I patient with, how patient can I be with everything around me, So by doing that, I'm finding like, I think I'm unlocking that other stage of expression, I think it's just expression in general, yeah.
So I was looking at your socials. You're quite an avid Twitter person. Like you're, but I think that's a good thing. You're in constant communication with your fans, and because you're always either it's football or it's like it's something about mental health or it's something that's just a feeling that you're sharing with people.
Right.
Your fans might think that they know you. Because you are, you wear your heart on your sleeve. Like you are in touch with that, the emotions of who you are. And so your fans might believe that they know you. And maybe they do. But my last question for you is this. Can you share with us here on this podcast something that your fans don't know about you?
Wow, that's a crazy one, actually. Something they don't know about me. Oh man. I mean, they know I'm shy, right? So. I don't know. I'd say I'm very loving, Got loads of love, man. I think my friends would agree with that one, yeah. It's got a lot of love, man, and I find so much joy in spreading it, And yeah, through my music, I don't know if they feel it through my music, hopefully they do. But yeah, I just have a lot of love, bro. But above all, like, I feel like to me a lot of love comes with confusion, bro, Because there's no such thing as enough love, It's never gonna be enough, So I think I'm just a ball of so many things, man. Depending on how you rotate the ball, I guess. But yeah, I'm love. I'm music. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's a tough one, bro. It's a tough one. I don't know how to answer that one.
But
or how to dive into it. Yeah.
I think, and this is a good way to end, is that it's love.
It's love, bro. It really is. It really is love. Honestly, like you were talking about, like as we spoke, as everything we're talking about, I just keep getting flashbacks of fellow artists about where I come from as an artist, the spaces I've been into, that I've made out of, I've took myself out of. Sometimes I'm like, how did I even make it out of that? You know, doesn't make sense. You know, so I feel like maybe what I would say is, if you do have a friend of yours or a child that wants to do this, make sure they're mentally alright. Like, take care of their mental health, because like it is draining. You know, very draining. And you said something earlier about, before we started, about there's the music and then there's the music business, you know? So the music business is the part that I'm learning a lot now as we speak. I'm going through it. A lot of the situations that I'm in right now, which a lot of them are reasons why I'm not releasing music, for example, at the moment, is because I never sat down to learn about the music business enough, you know? But just mental health in general, bro. Be it your son, you could have a friend of yours who's just trying to do music, rap or anything. A lot of times they're probably running away from something, you know? And we hear this stuff and we take it for granted. I think a lot of us take it lightly, you know? I'm saying this as an artist. I go through this, I do this, and I've seen artists become, you know? And I'll tell you one artist, bro. You look at Sema Sole. He's not overnight. I've seen him, you know? I've seen what he's gone through. I've seen what he's gone through. He puts it in his music. He sings about it. But I love the fact that people like him are coming through and doing it, and the people are listening, you know? Because they're the real people who will actually express. Because like, art is expression, you know? Art is truly expression. And a lot of the times I feel like there's this all like, the whole stereotype of like being a successful artist and like all the bling bling and all this shit. Like, but the real storytelling, that's where we need to be. That's what we need to focus on. And I feel like us being here is that. It's like expressing ourselves. And how do we make sense of us being Rwandan artists? And we have more to it. There's so much more. It's not just the fancy videos or this. It's the real storytelling. Let's get out of there. Let's knock on our folks' doors and ask them and be like, yo, tell us about this, you know? Because this is the time to do it, you know? We don't have tomorrow to actually ask them about what was it like in the 80s? What was it like in the 70s as refugees? What was it like living in exile, you know? What was it like living more than 30 years in a place that is not home? Now you're here, and now we're here. What would make sense to be around a storyteller today when you come from folks like that and we're not really like, you know, throwing it out there? I feel like we need to dig deeper, man, you know? So much more to express, you know? So yeah, man, I feel like just being here with you right now, talking to you, I might have gone off topic with a few of them, but it's really, for me, it represents where I come from personally. So this actually, hopefully whoever watches it feels it, understands it, but for me, it's for me, mainly, because I'm like, shit, I'm actually talking about how I feel. I'm expressing myself. I know how it feels. On my shoulders, in me, you know. It's not an easy thing. It's not easy to sit on what you have, you know. And I've met people like me who do what I do, you know. And like, it's beautiful, bro. It's absolutely, it's amazing. If I could express and tell you how I feel right now, I know we're ending this, but it feels amazing. I'm gonna go home with a lot of peace of mind, you know, because I'm telling you how I feel. But in general, I think music is collaboration, music is love. And I'm in the business of that. It's spreading love and working together with people. You know, I don't know where this is going to take me musically. What the music is going to take me, rather. But if my son wakes up and says he wants to play, I'll be there, you know? Whatever he wants to do, you know, in terms of that, I'll be there. I'll support it. And, you know, yeah, man. So, yeah, that's it. That's about it.
Thank you so much, Mike, for joining me.
Thank you for having me, too.
It was amazing.
Man. Amazing, too. Appreciate this. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, sir. Since November, zillion problems. What's the point of getting litty if I found you?